Yikes. The first time I ever mentioned Mr. Beast, the guy immediately gets canceled. Holy crap. Okay, forget I ever talked about that guy. His videos are lame and his hamburgers suck. I will never speak about him again. All right, anyway, I'm going to be trying to deal with a couple things on my agenda this weekend. My name is Buster Green. I'm an anime YouTuber, and I lost my job this week, and I'm still in a major financial hole from producing an anime that no one watched and trying to take a vacation for once in my life. So I might be stepping back from YouTube a little bit until I can figure out another way to make money, because I'm not making money for YouTube, I'm just doing it for fun. In the meantime, though, if you stay tuned to this channel, I'm eventually going to review Chojin Sentai Jetman. I just watched the last episode of that, and I have a lot to say about it because it confused me. I also just saw Deadpool. I may or may not review that, pending if no one else on the internet has the same pretty obvious and same base take that I have. But before I get into any of that, I want to do a really quick low-stakes video about the Power Rangers. So Power Rangers were trending today, Friday the 26th, and I'm not entirely sure why. The main thing seemed to be that some guy in the middle of nowhere cried out, "The Power Rangers are dead!" And the whole world looked at him and was like, well, are they? So I'm going to be talking about that and whether I agree with him or whether I don't. So real quick, what are the Power Rangers? Here's a quick brain dump and debate about that. I grew up in the 90s, and Power Rangers were very important back then. Power Rangers is a bizarre American adaptation of a Japanese show called Kyoryuger Sentai Zyuranger, a fantastical dinosaur battle show with some bizarre elements. The original first season of Power Rangers was a truly lightning in the bottle moment for pop culture that I think will never be replicated. And because the show was such a ratings bonanza, the series miraculously continued despite eventually running out of Zyuranger episodes. So we got the awkward Power Rangers Season 2 where they tried to keep the plate spinning. And then the show kept going and got weirder and weirder as it continued to try to keep that plate spinning by combining several different Super Sentais into a buffet of pure madness. A combination of shows that we have never seen before or since, and one of the greatest crossovers in Japanese pop culture history that was completely unappreciated by Japan. Anyway, after that, Power Rangers the movie came out. That was really good. I liked it anyway. Ivan Ooze was cool. There was that song by, like, I don't know, the Bubblegum Girls. Anyway, after that, I basically gave up on the show after it reached the 6th season with the Say Strangers. I think after that, the show also tried to stop being connected to the previous seasons, and that was immediately a turnoff for me. See, they started being more accurate to the Japanese seasons because in Japan, Super Sentai changes year to year. It's completely different characters, it's completely different stakes, and that way you don't have to watch it every year to be caught up. But you kind of do every once in a while because each Sentai series kind of builds off the back of the one before that. Anyway, I want to say after this, I eventually became aware of the existing Super Sentai series in Japan, and every once in a while, I would hear news from Japan that one series was excellent among all others. The first of these being Deca Ranger. I still have not seen Deca Ranger. And later I heard Gokaiger had been amazing just for wrapping up the loose ends of every previous Sentai. But for the most part, 9 out of 10 modern Super Sentai don't click with me. But that being said, I still want to see a couple of them. I also really want to check out Akiba Ranger, a dirty Japanese Sentai parody show with kind of the same tone that Deadpool has, but I haven't got around to it because I feel like I need to watch more Super Sentai shows first so I can fully understand all the jokes. And that's also kind of the same way I feel about Gokaiger. I feel like there's so much callbacks to previous Sentai shows that if I don't watch all the previous Sentai shows, I may be lost. And so I want to watch all the Sentai shows from order, from Go Ranger to Jacker to Battle Fever J, and then, Bioman, Sun Vulcan, all those things, just so I can catch up to Gokaiger, which at this point is now 10 years old. But despite all the hype around Gokaiger, that show eventually did get turned into a Power Ranger series, and from what I hear, that was completely bungled. So that is a show I probably will not watch. Now, that being said, I want to say maybe Gokaiger broke Super Sentai, because it seems like the series after Gokaiger started getting a lot weirder and a lot less formulaic. As we've gone on and on past Gokaiger, there's been more of a breakdown from the otherwise typical Super Sentai structure of 5 young teens in spandex wearing color-coded outfits. Most of the recent shows have gotten weirder and weirder as we've moved into the Reiwa era, with the most recent Sentai shows like Dawn Brothers and Zenkaiger having completely abandoned the traditional 5 people in costumes formula and gotten so artistic, so exotic, that on the one hand, holy fuck, that's the coolest shit I've ever seen. But on the flip side, if you're trying to make a Power Rangers show out of it, you can't because it's kind of unadaptable. I mean, look at Dawn Brothers. What the hell happened here? The Pink Ranger is a goddamn flamingo. The Black Ranger is Shadow the Hedgehog. What the fuck is this? What is this? What's the logic here? How could anyone adapt this? Also, the CGI on the Pink Flamingo Ranger, he looks awful. But yeah, holy hell, Don Brothers, kind of nuts. I do not think there's any explanation you can give for this to a Western audience. Anyway, the recent weirdness of the recent Reiwa Sentai series has led to this kind of virtual and perhaps inevitable division between what is a Super Sentai and what is a Power Rangers. And they've definitely divided before for the movie series, but now, since the most recent Sentai series have been seemingly unadaptable due to either spite or various reasons, Power Ranger seasons kind of started rising up into the air. Now, I guess I'll lay down what I know about recent events and see if I can come to any conclusions about those recent events. So, as we all know, the original Power Rangers are just getting older and older. They're like Gen X people, and, you know, as time goes on, more of them are dying off, and we're losing more and more of them each year. About a year ago, there was a Power Rangers reunion movie thing on Netflix, and the only Power Rangers they could get back for that reunion special were unfortunately the Blue Ranger and the Black Ranger. The original Yellow Ranger has unfortunately been dead for decades now, so the special was mostly focused on her legacy. But then somehow in very quick succession, the other Power Rangers dropped out. The Red Ranger was arrested for pandemic-era crypto fraud. The Pink Ranger just retired forever, citing her age, even though I think she still looks great. And Jason David Frank, our beloved Green Ranger, committed suicide under mysterious, still unexplained circumstances, leaving behind a legacy, a dynasty, and an unfinished movie. So that just left Billy and Zach, who basically carried that damn special and did an admirable job with it. But the special was seemingly a setup for Power Rangers to be fully rebooted through Netflix with completely original content and all that good-ass Netflix money, because, you know, Netflix is always just throwing away their money on things. Now, apparently that was the plan a year ago, but that didn't work out. There was apparently a dispute behind the scenes because what the Power Rangers company Hasbro wanted was to do more cheaply made Power Rangers TV series like the special, which was apparently a pilot for that. However, that's not what Netflix wanted. Netflix wanted another super expensive Power Rangers movie, sort of like the 2017 movie, which personally, I found that movie to be okay. Like, I thought it was funny. I laughed at it. I thought the Krispy Kreme jokes were maybe too on the nose, but I found out a majority of people hated that movie. And if I have to be critical about it, look, the monsters look like ass. The Power Rangers look like ass. The Zoids look like the fucking Kanye West sneaker collection. And yeah, that movie was very, very awkward. But it did make me laugh. The jokes were kind of funny. But the production design was shit. It was too dark and everything looked like fucking sneakers. Anyway, so apparently things are in a bad spot now. Apparently the Netflix Hasbro deal like completely fell apart because they just could not agree on a plan. And because of that, the future of the Power Rangers series is now in jeopardy because they lost out on all that sweet Netflix money that they were really counting on. And now we approach the present day, and the franchise is just in an outright state of disaster. The most recent season of Power Rangers was Cosmic Fury, and apparently that followed up on some of the promises from the anniversary movie, including Billy and including Lloyd Zed. But because of Netflix canceling their deal, it was shortened down to a 10-episode series, which is insane considering the season before this, Dino Fury, had 44 episodes. And this has led a majority of people online to reach the conclusion that the Power Rangers series is dead because of various evidence and because of various moves that Hasbro has made. First things first, as we all know, the Power Rangers in, I want to say the past 20 years, have moved production from originally California to Australia and New Zealand. As far as I know, the New Zealand production crew has been laid off. They're all out of work, and no more Power Rangers are being filmed in Australia and New Zealand as of 2023. As a result of the crew being gone, no fan letters have been responded to since everyone was laid off, obviously. And on top of that, I would say the Power Rangers are going stronger than ever in the comics. Like, the Power Rangers Godzilla crossover was awesome. The Power Rangers Ninja Turtle crossover was awesome. But all these various Power Rangers comic books are all ending because their contractual limitations are running out this year, and there has been zero effort on any of the ruling parties to renew those contracts, which is suspicious. Now, the last thing that really tipped the internet into full despair was this weekend Hasbro started doing a sudden out of nowhere estate auction of a majority of the Power Rangers props and also the archival Power Rangers props from previous series, and they're just auctioning them off to the highest bidder. So this has put people into a real state of despair. There's even a picture of the Power Ranger suits, like hung up on these like racks, like they're like being tortured, like, you know, the way they used to be like crucified in the old series. But yeah, a lot of people online are pointing out how ridiculous the situation is, and how like in Japan, when Super Sentai series are over, they get sent off to a Super Sentai museum, or sometimes even the Shotaro Shinomori Museum. And I guess that just brings up the question, are we as a society ready for an American Power Rangers museum? I would go to it as long as it was set up in like New York or LA. If it's like in Wyoming, I'm not going there. But yeah, so based on all this, does it seem like the Power Rangers is dead? Well, yeah, if that's all you have to go on, I guess that seems like it. But me personally, I don't believe the Power Rangers are dead. And if they are dead, I don't think they're going to stay dead. The fact of the matter is there's just too many people who love the Power Rangers. And even if Hasbro has mismanaged the IP, it probably won't remain dead. Hasbro will eventually offload the IP, and they might do it in the messiest and worst possible way. They might scatter the props to the wind. There might be a lot of props that have to be remade. There might be a lot of props that have to be rebought. And if I had to guess what's going to happen after this, I think another company will surely buy the Power Rangers off of Hasbro and, you know, get the franchise going again. If I had to put down some bets, I would say Netflix, because they had plans for it and Hasbro shit on their plans. So why not just buy it out from under Hasbro? That makes the most sense. Next, I would probably say maybe Disney, because they bought the Power Rangers before, and they're always trying to expand their kid fan base. Lastly, Haim Saban has bought the franchise back before, especially when it's been in dark places, and I could totally see him doing again just for kicks. So yeah, a few people have reacted to the situation online, and in lieu of another media company buying the Rangers, your next best guess as to what happens next is as good as mine. Now, there is one idea that if this is the end of Power Rangers, maybe it is time for the US to fully embrace Super Sentai and just dub the Super Sentai shows with the Power Rangers branding. Now, I know that idea sounds unusual, but that's actually been par for the course in Korea for years, where they liked the idea of Power Rangers, but they didn't necessarily feel the need to film Korean exclusive content, so they just had Korean actors dub over the Japanese actors. And they call it Power Rangers, even though it, for all extents and purposes, is Super Sentai. Now, with Kamen Rider and Ultraman making big pushes lately to be localized with subbing and dubbing lately, I think this would actually fit the cultural zeitgeist quite well. And, you know, you could have, like, you know, dubbed Power Rangers at, like, anime cons and, like, on Crunchyroll and, like, on Netflix. And I think people would go for that. Anyway, that's what's happening with that. And, yeah. Meanwhile, because of this video, I had to watch the first episode of Don Brothers. And Don Brothers is fucking weird. What the hell's going on? Why is this guy Sonic the Hedgehog? Why is this guy Zenkaiger? Do I need to watch Zenkaiger to understand this? This guy in the first episode is definitely Zenkaiger. Anyway, if you guys care about Super Sentai, I'm going to review Jetman next. Jetman is the greatest Super Sentai show, so I went out of my way to watch it. So come back next time, because I'll be talking about that. Thank you. Good night.